The 2020s have already given us a ton of incredible fantasy series, shows packed with magic, monsters, epic fights, and killer characters. But for every big hit, there are too many fantastic shows that slip through the cracks. Not because they weren't good, but because they got buried under the endless scroll. That's where we come in, because in this video, we're spotlighting the fantasy gems from the 2020s you probably missed, but should absolutely check out. So many fantasy shows, so little time. Let's dive in. My Lady Jane. My Lady Jane throws history books out the window and replaces them with pure fantasy chaos. Based on the cheeky YA novel of the same name, this series reimagines Lady Jane Grey, the tragic queen who lost her head, as a badass heroine in a world where politics, romance, and shapeshifters collide. There are courtly schemes, magical creatures, and enough snarky dialogue to make even the most jaded fantasy fans smile. The show leans hard into fun, delivering lush period drama without taking itself too seriously. If you're craving fantasy with flair and humor, My Lady Jane is a hidden gem you must seek out. Warrior Nun. Yes, Warrior Nun is as gloriously wild as the title suggests. And yes, it absolutely deserves more love. The series follows Ava, a young woman who wakes up in a morgue to discover she's been resurrected by a magical artifact embedded in her back, and is now part of a secret order of demon-fighting nuns. What follows is part action fantasy, part coming-of-age story, and part conspiracy thriller, with slick fight scenes and a lead character who's equal parts reluctant hero and lovable disaster. It's fun, unapologetically weird, and packed with kick-ass female characters. If you missed this show, consider this your sign to give it a shot. Fallen. Fallen is here to feed your guilty pleasure craving for messy, angsty, supernatural romance. Based on the hit YA book series, it follows Luce, a troubled young woman sent to a mysterious reform school, only to find out it's crawling with brooding fallen angels, and she's at the center of an ancient curse. There's forbidden love, dark secrets, and enough longing stares to power a CW marathon. Sure, it leans into tropes, but that's half the fun. Fallen knows exactly what it is, and delivers on that promise with style. If you miss the Vampire Diaries era of fantasy TV, this one is calling your name. The Watch. The Watch is one of those shows that flew way under the radar, but brought a bold punk rock vibe to fantasy TV. Loosely inspired by Terry Pratchett's Discworld books, it's set in a chaotic city where magic, crime, and rebellion collide, and the ragtag City Watch tries, and usually fails, to keep the peace. The tone is part dystopian fantasy, part rock opera, part crime caper, with snappy dialogue and delightfully offbeat characters. It's messy in places, sure, but also full of energy and personality. If you like your fantasy weird and packed with oddball charm, The Watch is the underdog series you might just end up loving. Dead Boy Detectives. Dead Boy Detectives is what happens when the Sandman universe gives you a supernatural mystery bromance, and it's a delight. Edwin and Charles are two dead teens who refuse to move on to the afterlife. Instead, they solve ghostly cases and dodge all the Reapers and other nasties that want them gone. It's like a slightly edgier Scooby-Doo, with British wit, haunting vibes, and a lot more heart than you'd expect. The chemistry between the leads is fantastic, and the cases balance emotional depth with supernatural chaos. If you want a show that's fun, spooky, and quietly moving, Dead Boy Detectives deserves a spot on your watch list. Motherland, Fort Salem. Motherland, Fort Salem flips the script on witchcraft in TV. What if witches weren't hunted, but recruited into the military? That's the world of this series, where a matriarchal US sends its young witches off to boot camp to learn combat magic and fight supernatural terrorists. The result? A show that blends fantasy, dystopian drama, and feminist themes in a way that feels genuinely fresh. The magic system is cool and creative, and the relationships are the emotional heart of it all. If you're looking for fantasy that's a little darker, a little queerer, and full of high-stakes action, Motherland is a hidden treasure waiting to be binge-watched. Lockwood Co. Lockwood Co. serves up classic ghost hunting adventure with a moody, stylish twist. Set in a haunted London plagued by a ghost epidemic, the show follows a trio of teen agents who run their own scrappy, adult-free detective agency. There's Lockwood, the brooding leader with secrets, George, the brainy researcher, and Lucy, the gifted newcomer who can communicate with spirits. Together, they tackle deadly hauntings and their own emotional baggage. The vibe? Part Sherlock Holmes, part Stranger Things, with fantastic world building and a streak of British wit. It's spooky, smart, and full of heart. Cancelled way too soon, but 100% worth your time. SurrealEstate. Ever wondered who sells all those haunted houses after the horror movie ends? That's the genius premise of SurrealEstate. The show follows Luke Roman, a real estate agent who specializes in properties with metaphysical issues, aka ghosts, and other things that go bump in the night. His team of oddball experts investigates spooky cases, tries to save clients from supernatural disasters, and maybe closes a sale or two along the way. It's part Monster of the Week, part workplace comedy. So if you like your fantasy with a side of haunted house real estate and quirky found family energy, SurrealEstate is the underrated gem you didn't know you needed. The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself. The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself is what happens when dark magic, angsty coming-of-age drama, and blood-soaked fantasy collide. And it's brilliant. The show follows Nathan, the illegitimate son of the world's most feared blood witch, as he's hunted by both sides of a brutal magical war. There's romance, betrayal, wild magic battles, and a pace that keeps you hooked from start to finish. It's gritty, stylish, and refreshingly queer, a fantasy series that embraces moral gray zones and doesn't pull punches. Netflix's decision to cancel it after one season? Criminal! But the season we do have is addictive and absolutely worth watching. Invisible City. Invisible City brings Brazilian folklore to life in a way that's equal parts haunting and magical. Set in modern-day Rio, the show follows a cop who discovers that mythical creatures from local legend are living and hiding among humans. When his wife dies under mysterious circumstances, he's pulled into their hidden world and a mystery that's bigger than anything he imagined. The vibe is moody, atmospheric, and deeply tied to nature and myth. And the show balances crime drama with fantasy beautifully, creating something that feels fresh and grounded. If you're looking for fantasy that's rooted in rich cultural lore, Invisible City deserves way more attention. Alchemy of Souls. Alchemy of Souls is a Korean fantasy epic that mixes forbidden magic, tragic romance, and high-stakes action into one gorgeously packaged show. Set in a mythical kingdom, it follows powerful mages, dangerous soul-swapping spells, and the tangled fates of characters trying to survive it all. At the heart of the story is Mudok, a skilled assassin trapped in a weak body, and Jong-uk, a nobleman with untapped magical potential. The production is stunning. Think sweeping landscapes, intricate costumes, and jaw-dropping fight scenes. If you're craving fantasy that's emotional, beautifully crafted, and full of twists, Alchemy of Souls will absolutely pull you in. Honorable mentions. Before we wrap, let's give a shout out to a few more 2020s fantasy shows that flew under the radar. In The Nevers, a group of Victorian women discover they've been gifted with strange powers. Chaos reimagines Greek gods and mortals in a darkly, totally chaotic way. In Cursed, Arthurian legend gets flipped on its head as Nimue takes center stage in a dark retelling. I Am Not Okay With This combines teenage angst with unpredictable superpowers. With Willow, we return to that beloved magical world with new heroes and plenty of heart. Wolfpack scratches that supernatural drama itch with werewolves and high-stakes survival. In Vampire Academy, royal intrigue, romance, and deadly politics come together in a fast-paced reboot. And First Kill gave us a sapphic vampire versus hunter love story. School Spirits. School Spirits takes your classic teen drama and gives it a killer twist, literally. The show follows Maddie, a high schooler who's stuck haunting her school after she's murdered. The catch? She doesn't know who did it, and solving her own death means navigating secrets and a whole support group of ghostly schoolmates who died on campus over the years. The vibe is spooky but fun, with plenty of emotional punches and a mystery that'll hook you fast. If you want a fresh teen fantasy that mixes murder, heart, and hauntings, this one deserves a spot on your watch list. Do you agree with our picks for the 2020s fantasy shows you're missing out on? Are there any series you'd like to add to this list? Let us know in the comments. Check out tvshowpilot.com for articles on all your favorite shows. And don't forget to subscribe to the TV Show Pilot YouTube channel for more videos like this.